Good restaurant, yeah. We just...
እዚህ ጋር ነው። Good. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the signing ceremony of the grant agreement with the World Bank to effectively implement program for results, which is hybrid, for strengthening primary health care services and flood management project with an allocation of USD 445 million and USD 300 million respectively. As you all know, Ethiopia is vulnerable to climate change-induced disasters such as drought and floods. On top of this, the conflict in the northern part of Ethiopia has resulted in significant damage in health facilities and disruptions in the delivery of essential health services, as well as human and social development, which is risking a reversal of our hard-earned development gains. Responsibly, to tackle these challenges with a huge emphasis in the 10-year development plan has identified building resilient green economy through strengthening institutional capacity for climate risk management is the government top priority. The two grant agreement we just signed today with a total amount of US $745 million for the implementation of the two projects are therefore important to enhance the efforts of the government related to tackling the impact of the climate change and other disaster risks through strengthening disaster preparedness and improving nutrition and essential health care services as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies Ministers, the Health Sector Transformation Plan 2, which is covering 2020 to 2025, envisages to see a healthy, productive and prosperous society. However, despite significant improvement in recent periods, mortality and morbidity from communicable diseases and maternal and child health conditions are still high, which is posing a threat to achieving the desired result in terms of health outcome. Moreover, there is a considerable disparity in service utilization among the different groups of society classified by geographic locations and socio-economic status. The health system is also challenged by the conflict with the significant disruptions in the delivery of essential health services affecting health outcomes in maternal, child and nutrition. As reflected in the 10-year development plan, the provision of equitable access to health services as well as ensuring quality and relevance are among the priority areas of the government. In this regard, despite the macro-fiscal challenges, the government has increased health sector spending in the last 2 years. On the other hand, it is also very critical and important that partners continue their support and commitment to the health sector through the Sustainable Development Goals Pool Fund, SDGPF, as the health sector partly relies on external financing for maternal and child health to sustain the gains that have been achieved so far. In this regard, the World Bank has been a front runner in supporting SDG Performance Fund that provides complementary resources to the health sector transformation plan, which is consistent with one plan and one budget approach. Moreover, the USD 450 million grant is very important to support the implementation of health sector transformation plan in improving health care services such as key productive maternal and child health as well as nutrition services. The IPF component of the project will support procurement and distribution of medical supplies for conflict-affected health facilities, rehabilitation of health service infrastructure, as well as provision of essential nutrition services to internally displaced people. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies Ministers, different levels and sustained development gains. In this regard, the flood management project is important to strengthen our capacity in the lowland and pastoral areas of the country. Notably, the flood in 2020 focused on mitigating the catastrophic impact of floods on livelihoods. Moreover, the project would be instrumental in strengthening institutional and coordination capacity for the overall disaster risk management endeavors of the country. It is also important to mention that the project can contribute to lessen the fiscal burden towards disaster response and mitigation and the negative macroeconomic impact of recurring floods. Also is in the process of working on developing the National Disaster Risk Financing Strategy, DRFS, which will be finalized in the coming couple of months. This will also add our response strategy as well. My brother Osman, the government appreciates the World Bank's continued support to ensure resilience and inclusiveness through social and economic development projects such as basic services, natural resource management, and social protection. The projects we signed today are also timely in responding to the challenges we are facing by mitigating the impact of climate change and the conflict and addressing health issues. I am confident that the two projects will contribute to the government effort to achieve targets envisaged in the 10-year development plan, in Health Sector Transformation Plan 2, and also is also part of the Reconstruction and Recovery Plan and the National Policy and the Strategy on Disaster Risk Management, as well as the target sets under SDG 3. I take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Osman, for your leadership and the personal support. I also appreciate the team from both the government and the World Bank's side who have been engaged in preparation of the two projects and facilitating the signing of this grant agreement. The government of Ethiopia reaffirms its commitment to enhance its partnership with the bank and other development partners, particularly in a time where we need to address our macro challenges, advance our economic reform, as well as work on rehabilitation and reconstruction in line with the peace agreement and sustaining of the peace, as well as inclusive national dialogue, requires protecting our gains, advancing our reform, as well as working on the issue of reconstruction and rehabilitation. So World Bank is a front runner and the lead institution in this aspect. It's not only the resource and the analytical support, but World Bank has also have the convening power in terms of bringing all together to respond to these multiple challenges Ethiopia is facing. And the government, with the leadership of the Prime Minister, are very much thankful to the response and to the steady and development partnership we had with the bank, which has been reaffirmed in the discussion between our Prime Minister and your President in Washington, D.C. And in fact, the two projects has been approved in the board while the Prime Minister was visiting the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And we would like to continue, in addition to basic human needs development project, we need to move to also growth enhancing and infrastructure development project. With that note, I would like to thank you very much. Mr. Osman.
And the Ethiopia flood management project, which is $300 million. This project were approved by the World Bank Group Board of Directors on the 13th of December 2022, considering the challenges which Ethiopia was facing. And as a very fortunate and happy coincidence, as you mentioned, Excellency, they did happen also when His Excellency, the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, was visiting the World Bank and did meet with President David Malpass. We do believe that these projects are important as part of the response which need to be brought to the challenges Ethiopians are facing. And those are currently a poly-crisis, multiple crises which the country is facing, whether they are related to COVID impact, whether they are related to climates and conflicts, among others, among many other crises. And all those crises have had devastating impact on the life of millions of Ethiopians. I will just go on some numbers. When we talk about the conflict, nearly 24 million people have been in conflict-affected areas in this country and without access to adequate health services. More than 2 million of the estimated 5 million IDPs across this country are children under 5 years old. More than 477,000 pregnant and lactating women in this country lack access to basic maternal health services. Those numbers speak by themselves. They are related to conflicts, man-made. When it comes to nature-made, the disaster, I will just pick up the floods, knowing that today we're talking about floods while Ethiopia continues to face droughts. We should not forget the two extremes which trigger the vulnerability of Ethiopia. But as flood is concerned, we do notice a more frequency and magnitude and severity of floods across Ethiopia. In 2020 alone, floods affected more than 1 million Ethiopians, displaced more than 300,000, caused more than 300 fatalities, and cost to the economy of Ethiopia more than $358 million. That amount is already above the